All right, so I've got a property pulled up right now, but as far as how you would get into Zillow and the assessor site in your local area and kind of run some simple comps. And this is kind of a ballpark estimate of where you need to be. And obviously, when you're submitting offers on properties or anything like that, you're going to try to get the best deal that you possibly can. That is still a good deal for the seller and make it a win-win. But this is going to give you a ballpark of what you're working in if you've never done it before and you just want an idea of how to do some simple comps. So, for example, here, first of all, I've got this address pulled up here, but the first thing I would do is go into my local assessor's site online. So go to your county. We happen to be in Vanderburgh County, so this is Vanderburgh County assessor site, but every county has one. Just Google it, your county assessor site, and it should come up. So you want to go into the property search, which here, let's see, since we're using this one as an example. Um, let's go into the property search. You'll go into the street address, and I'm just going to copy and paste it, but whatever address you have, and hit search. Should pop up here. All right. So here you're going to be able to see the address, the assessor, the parcel number, the legal description. This is kind of the brief legal description. Who owns the house, their address if they don't live at the property, and if say you're looking at a vacant property, this here is kind of their reverse address. So you may have the address of the subject property, but you send them a letter to this owner's address to basically tell them, hey, I'm interested in buying your vacant property. Um, City, state, and everything like that. Now, the reason why I come to the assessor site first is I want to see what it's currently assessed at. What's its valuation right now? And so, as far as we know, it's at 40,900. But also, I want to know if a bunch of taxes are owed on it. So I'm going to look and click my tax information, and I'm going to basically scroll down here, and I'm going to kind of look and see, okay, well, how much is owed in the taxes? And this is all public information. So, for example, this one looks like it's paid up for the year. Um, I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah. So this one's paid up for the year. Great. Um, but we know that you pay taxes twice a year. In this one, it's obviously not escrowed in. Or if it is, then that's something that would be in their mortgage information. And that would be a question that we would ask them is how much are your monthly payments with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance all included. So we have an accurate picture of what we're looking at when we are talking numbers as far as the property. So, but if it's not escrowed into the mortgage, basically they'll pay 442.24 in the fall and the same amount in the spring, or they can pay it up for the year, and that would be like 885 bucks or something like that. So basically, I like to look at the tax info because you don't want to have you can run into things if you don't do your own due diligence. At least the simple basics of looking up the tax info, looking at and it might even help to see maybe the sales history or sales disclosure if they have that information available to see what they bought the property for, especially in the case of vacant houses. Um, you know, you want to get an idea of what they bought it for so that you can present a better offer for them, or get a better idea of where they stand. So then you've got kind of your dimensions and everything like that, and all the other information that you would need for the house. Or also, this helps when you're selling the house to offer to a buyer all this information: what year it was built, um, you know, the physical depreciation, I guess, what type of heating and cooling it is, what type of foundation, um, and just those basic questions that it would add that a buyer would ask: square footage, and everything like that. So um, then I'd come over here to the Zillow website, and basically what we'd be looking at is we're going to take these three numbers and run simple comps. So, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 888 square foot. Now, the square feet that the house has, I usually go plus or minus 500 square feet. I would count that as a comp. And I'm doing this live, so there may not be great comps here, but we'll take a look, and you'll run into this if it's something that we address, then that'll be something that we'll have to get past. But so far, we're looking at anything plus or minus eight 800 or 900 square feet plus or minus 500, and really the 2 bedroom, 1 bath, I would maybe go off. Let's just say if it was a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, I would still count that as a comp as long as it fell within a mile radius of my subject property and it was sold. And if we can look at active comps and also comps that have been sold already. But the ones that have been sold, I like to look at those a little bit heavier because that's a concrete comparable if you have a similar house for what this property is going to sell for, especially if that property had been renovated and then it sold. Gives you a very clear picture of what you're getting into and what the potential could be. So, um, yeah, but I would go, I'd count it as a comp if it's in a mile radius or if it's, sold within the year. And even sometimes, it just depends on how fast your market changes. So there's a little bit of science, but there's also a little bit of art to real estate. And I'm learning both sides of that, and I'm sure you guys are as well. So without further ado, um, let's go in here. So this is where we're at. Hang on. Let's go in here. Let's get this property pulled up again. Da 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 da, slow internet, slow internet, slow internet, slow internet, slow internet, slow internet. All right, let's go. So, okay, right next door, what is this one? This is a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,612 square foot. Now, it kind of falls out of the square footage range, and it also falls out of the bedroom bathroom count range because it has 3 bedrooms instead of two. Uh, So I would say, this is an active comp as well. We don't know exactly what it's going to ultimately sell for, but they have it listed here at 75K. And this is kind of speaking to the art of it all, I guess. I would look at this and say, okay, well, it's listed for 75K. I know a realtor is listing it, so they're not inclined to go lower on the price. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense for them. So basically, it could be listed a little bit high in an attempt to secure a higher final price, but they know they might come down a little bit on it. But it is right next door, so I feel like it's worth looking at. Built around the same time. Now this is what I'm looking at. 270 days on Zillow. Let Obviously this house isn't worth 75 grand to a cash buyer or somebody with a mortgage. Frankly, I mean 270 days on Zillow. That pretty much tells the whole story. So that tells you that this house being less square footage, one less bedroom, and right next door, it's probably not going to be worth 75 either, frankly. And the Zestimate might be more accurate than what we think. I wouldn't rely on the Zestimate, but the Zestimate could be in a ballpark range here at 48,000. And the assessor site assessed it at 40, and we don't have pictures or anything of the any work that's been done. But okay, let's look here. Another one, 54,000, and that one hasn't sold yet. So here's what we're gonna do. I don't even have these on yet. So let's go to recently sold. We got active listings showing us that we're looking at lower than 50, I'm thinking, for a 2 bedroom, 1 bath in this area. So let's see. 2 bedroom, 1 bath within everything. This is a comp. This is a comp here. Depending on when it was sold. 2016, it was literally about a year and a month ago that this place sold for 67 grand. And that may be why those other listings are at 75K and a little bit higher. But again, 270 days on Zillow. That is crazy. Either they literally just put it on, Some people just put it on Zillow and that's it, and they just let it sit or whatever. But this is a realtor listing it. I would expect them to have a little bit more marketing behind it, but I don't know. 270 days on Zillow is insane though. I'm stuck on that. I'm sorry. So, um, but this place is nice. This place is pretty nice. It's decent. Definitely decent. Definitely got some curb appeal, backyard, you know. Um, okay, so we got one comp for 67, right? So here's what we do. We go in here and we break out our handy dandy calculator. And by the way, I'm not editing like any of this video. So you guys are getting it 100% live. I'm just trying to do a quick, simple video for you guys to do the comp. So, but we got one at 67. So that's our first one. What's this one here? Similar. This would be great. You start seeing these in a neighborhood like this, all clustered together. These are sold literally almost at the same time. Let's see what this one looked like when it was sold. But 68, I don't think we're going to get very many pictures here. But yeah, same basic vicinity, within a year, roughly. Zillow says the price is going down. And by the way, too, if you're looking like at different properties and you're finding comps, usually not on the sold ones, but on the for sale by owner or even for sale, they'll have the realtor info down here, but the owner's number will typically be at the bottom here if you scroll down. So just in case you guys didn't know that. So let's say that's another one for 68. And I'll usually do like 3, and if I can get 4, I will, you know. You try to get as many as you can that are actual comps, but you don't want to push it to where it's um you're just basically taking everything as a comp. Our subject property was right here, remember? So look at this radius. 32,000 here. When did this sell? This might bring our comps down, but it depends, It's kind of like you got to look at it objectively because either when you're talking to the buyer, you want your comps to be a little bit higher. When you're talking to the seller, I mean, you might want your comps to be a little bit lower, but ultimately, if you're buying, you're going to have to sell or do something as far as um, bring value to yourself with the property. So, um, okay, around the same time, this one I is not quite as nice. I don't think. They still have the privacy fence, but they don't have. This is kind of bare bones here. You can kind of see it's just kind of bare bones appliances and everything else. See how important you guys are. How I just ignored that call like that. So anyway, so 32,000. Okay, let's do it again. Let's say 32. All right. And for the sake of time, let's just cap it off here. You take the average, simple math, divide it by 3, boom. And uh that's kind of like your after repair value. So what do we do with this number? 55,666. You're gonna look at this number and you're gonna say, okay, well that's the most that we're gonna plan on getting for this property. Plain and simple. So knowing that, we got to build in our discount. So we want to multiply that by, I don't know, you could do 65%, 70%, depending on the size of the property, you might 80%, like if you're talking about bigger commercial properties, maybe. Um, Actually, that's not even true because the bank is going to give you like 75% LTV, loan to value ratio. So again, you want to buy and put yourself in a position to make money when you buy. So I'm going to go ahead and do 70% here. So that means that's the most that I can, and not even that. That's if it doesn't have any repairs that are needed at all. This place doesn't need any repairs at all. That's the most that I can offer for it is 38,966. Now, let's say, and I know we don't have pictures, but let's say that we need some flooring and we need some new appliances maybe, and we want to spruce up the property a little bit, maybe some countertops or something. Let's just say we want to put 10,000 into the property, okay? And um I mean, I wouldn't necessarily uh do that unless I was getting a really really good steal on it, but if for this particular property, but it all depends on your market and what your exit strategy is. So let's say we put a $10,000 renovation budget in here. So we've got, so now we factored in our repair costs and we factored in what we're going to have to offer as far as a discount if we wholesale it, or what we need as far as profit if we're going to put the money in and flip it. We factor that in. We know what our eventual ultimate sales price is. So this is the most that we can offer for this property. So just to be clear too, and hang on, I'm gonna get this so that my computer doesn't die. But um, just to be clear, also, you don't want to, you don't necessarily want to offer this full amount here. If you call them up and they say, look, I just want out from it. I literally, and they may be only asking that much from the start. But you talk to them, you have a couple of conversations, you share with them what you think as far as what you'd be able to do with the property, and the potential that you could bring, and how confident you feel that you can get them out of their current situation. If you feel confident, you should express that to them. But um, basically you're going to look at this and you're going to say, okay, well, he may be asking 10,000 for the property. So that means that I'm going to take the 10,000. I'm going to take the $10,000 price instead of offering the full maximum allowable offer that I can. It's just not, it's building in more profit, but this is the most that I can offer. So on a deal like this, it was like 55,600. If you bought it for 10,000, to make numbers easy, let's see here. Let's get the calculator back out. But if you bought it for 10,000 and you put 10,000 into it, you're in it for 20, you're going to end up making, a profit of, um, and I'm going to factor in another 5,000 just in case you're using private funding, which a lot of you guys are. So, um, you want to pay your investors that you're borrowing money from back their interest as well. So let's say you're in it for 25 grand. And so then your profit after everything's said and done, you're talking 30 grand. So, and maybe, with closing costs, you may be around 27 or whatever. Usually it's 3% of the purchase price. So factor that in. But, but yeah, I mean, this is a really, really easy, viable way to make money. I mean, I'm 22. I've been into it for almost 2 years now, not even quite 2 years. And I've been able to basically, I mean, I dropped out of college doing this. I literally was in classes, doing biology coursework and preparing for medical school. And I just literally dove headfirst into this, started becoming successful with it, and just ran with it. And I think if I can do it as a 19, 20-year-old kid when I jumped into it, anybody can do it. So I just want to share some simple, basic stuff with you guys today. And I hope that you guys like the video. I want to be a good listener. I want to give you guys the content that you're looking for. So if there's anything that you have as far as direct questions, leave it in the comments. Be sure to like the video. And as far as if you want one-on-one with me, or you want to see what I'm doing behind the scenes, and you want a little bit more than the average bear that I just, the content I put out basically for the world to see, um, take a look at my real estate entrepreneurs Facebook group. That right there has a lot of high quality individuals other than myself in it, but it also has my one-on-one day-to-day, behind the scenes, that I'm looking for. And actually my phone's ringing again. So I'm going to end the video. Like the video, share it. Definitely check out that Facebook group because it's very valuable. I'm going to be putting a bunch of more content on there that not everybody else is going to have access to. and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.